Hey everyone, this is Jen and you're watching BPD Woman and this is a BPD short. You know the drill, please like, share, subscribe. I offer you positive solution-based approaches to recovery for BPD, CPTSD, or coping strategies if you find yourself to be a highly sensitive or emotionally dysregulated person. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor. However, I can answer one very important question that those folks cannot, which is, what is it like to live with borderline personality disorder? And in doing so and sharing my therapeutic experience and recovery over the last 20 years, I can shed the insights and nuances that is going to make your recovery successful and how you can apply those DBT skills into real world situations. Today, we're going to talk about triggers and not acting on fear. Let's go. Fear is a huge motivating emotion. I would say fear, anger, love, those are probably the three strongest emotions that you can have outside of maybe jealousy and envy. When you feel fear, what is your reaction, right? You want to protect yourself. You want to get ahead of the game. You want to make sure no one's going to hurt you or take advantage of you. You try to protect yourself in any way possible. And if you've lived in a life of trauma, hello, kitty cat. If you've lived in a life of trauma, of uncertainty, that you are most likely used to being hypervigilant. Hypervigilant is a constant state of awareness that something dangerous is going to happen, and it keeps you on high alert. Sort of like being a police officer and always looking over your shoulder like you have your head on a swivel, but instead of just turning it on and off when you're at work, you wear it all the time. And it's completely exhausting and it's emotionally draining and it can get in the way of your relationships or your work or your progress, all kinds of things. It can be very emotionally sapping, especially if you have past triggers that push you into a place that you feel you need to defend yourself. So what am I talking about? Well, let's say you're used to people taking advantage of you or destroying your property, or you're used to people taking your money, or you're used to people gossiping about you, okay? If you find yourself, going throughout your daily life and you find that you are looking for many opportunities where somebody may be exploiting you or taking your money, or you're looking for scams or people that may be trying to sell you on business ideas that don't sound very, on the up and up, you may feel that hypervigilance kick in and you may go 5 steps forward in trying to cut those off at the quick so that you don't get taken advantage of. And of course, this makes sense, right? You have lived a life of being abused, traumatized, invalidated. You had to be your own one-person army security guard investigator, right? And so you can log on to certain triggers and you can interpret certain situations without checking the facts. And you may have a very strong emotion, which is emotional reasoning, which is a common cognitive distortion that we find in people with borderline personality disorder. I think, therefore I am. I think he's mad at me, so he must be. I feel like I'm going to get in trouble at work, so I know I'm going to be fired. Those are emotionally reasoning types of distortions that are not purely based on facts. So when we talk today about, these triggers and assumptions, the best way that you can combat them is twofold. The first is to say, I don't know that for sure. I just don't know that for sure. And that's very difficult. And if you're feeling really emotionally dysregulated, your emotion is high and your logic is low. So it can be difficult in that moment to say, okay, I don't know that this is going on. I'm not sure. I don't have all the facts, which leads to step 2 is checking those facts, right? So you're going to see, okay, is this correct? Is this right? Do I have all the information to make a decision and move forward with an action that's not going to make me look off or make me look wrong or make me look emotionally out of control? And I want to share with you an example that happened to me. So I had a friend and I was She was a client for a while. We became friends. She lived in a different apartment complex. She wanted to move. I told her about my apartment complex. Well, not only did she move in the apartment complex, she moved in the unit down the hall, okay? Well, progressively, she became more abusive. She had her own mental issues and things that she wasn't dealing with. And the final straw came for me when one day I was crying on the phone, having a very rough day financially. I was worried about money. This was way back during the start of the pandemic. And she just hung up the phone because she didn't want to hear me crying, because I don't know, she says she has some kind of auditory disorder or autism, and therefore she just couldn't hear me crying. That was too hard for her ears, and so she hung up on me. And then I was like, this is done. There is no more. I was like, you're not a client, you're not a friend, stay the fuck away from me. And so I avoided her, I didn't make eye contact with her. I didn't engage her. I didn't tell anybody about her. But now that as the months have gone on, some very interesting things have been happening. So I have a doormat, a very heavy doormat, and it's one that you would put out in your garden. So it probably weighs about 10 pounds. And I've been noticing every day when I come out of my apartment door, someone has been fucking with it. It's like askew from my door. It's a foot away from my door. You can't just accidentally trip over this thing and like move it. So I knew that wasn't happening. And it was happening at very odd hours, like between 12 and 5 a.m. So it wasn't a cleaning crew. It was nothing like that. One day I came out and somebody had dropped a burrito on it. So it's like all of these beans and stuff were all in the crevices. I had to take it out and really give it a cleaning. And I thought, okay, maybe it's just kids. Maybe it's a drunk person. But then one day I came out and it was completely flipped over. So turned completely over and then pushed up to my door. So then I knew, okay, this is the day I'm going to go buy a Ring doorbell camera. And that's what I did. So I put this Ring doorbell camera out. And I am pretty sure that it's this bitch that lives down the hall. Excuse me. I have very few nemesises, but she is one of them. Her and an ex-boyfriend, okay? And, she has gotten to be friendly with some of the other people in the building. And so I've been seeing these cues, and these people I've had other run-ins with. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, they're commiserating together. She's being emboldened by their stories to be more of a bitch towards me or to fuck with me. And this whole thing of her flipping I don't have extreme proof. I'm pretty damn sure. Because I didn't have any problems with my doormat in the 2 years I've lived here before her and I fell out, and now I do. So, okay, I'm not exactly sure, but I have a pretty damn good inkling. So, I put a doorbell cam, okay? Now, this girl has always been very, very weird about cameras. She doesn't like the cameras. She doesn't want to see the cameras. She's very paranoid. Like I said, she has a lot of emotional issues of her own that she's not dealing with. So, a day after I installed the doorbell camera, I saw one of the property managers peek at his head like this and then quickly walk back down the hall. And so I started texting some of my friends, and I'd be like, who have been like up to date on what's been going on with this vandalism issue. And I said, she complained about me. Property management came up. What do you bet? They're going to try to like tell me to take down this doorbell camera, and I'm not taking it down. And then I started coming up with a plan of, okay, well, if they do this, then I'll say this. And then I'm like in a 10-floor building, and I went to every single floor. There's like 3 wings on every floor to look to see if other people had doorbell cameras, so that if property management came to me to say, you have to take down this doorbell camera, I would say, what about this person in this unit and this unit? And I found like about 3 other units that had doorbell cameras or doorbells. So I was ready for it. And then, a couple days went by, nobody said anything, but I was like vigilant. I was like, okay, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for this fight. Like, they say this, I'm going to say that, right? So then one day I had to go down to the office for something completely unrelated. And the gentleman of the property manager who I saw move back and forth from this camera, I said, oh yeah, I was like, I saw you in that camera. He's like, oh yeah, he's like, I was just walking by and I like noticed it, and he's like, I was just looking at it. Oh, right. So then this like light bulb went off, like, oh, so nobody reported me, nobody went to him, This chick didn't like complain about it. Then I know he wasn't looking at the camera because he was going to tell me to take it down. But in the ensuing days, what did I do? I latched onto this assumption. I was already emotionally dysregulated by this other chick that I have problems with. You know, I feel like she could be dangerous, so I take certain steps to protect myself, which isn't bad. Being vigilant is not bad. Being aware of your surroundings and knowing how to protect yourself is highly encouraged. I highly encourage that you learn how to do that. But the level that I took it to was, it was consuming me so much that I was talking about it, planning it, and expending all of this energy for what? For nothing that actually came to fruition. They were never intending to say anything about this doorbell camera, and in the 2 weeks that I've had it, no one has said anything. So you can get into an assumption, or you can interpret a situation, come up with a story for that situation, and roll with it. And what does that do? In this situation, the only person that I negatively affected was myself, right? Like, I stressed myself out. There was no reason for me to do that. But what if it was a situation where, let's say it's somebody at work and you think somebody wants your job, or you think that, you know, in a really, like, let's say you're, I don't know, you're trying out for a play at school, right? And you think that someone's trying to try out for the role to take it from you. And then you go out to sabotage them, or you go out to spread rumors about them, and then you find out that they were never going out for that role all along. Well, now what have you done? Well, you've looked like a jerk to other people. You've ruined that friendship. You've created stress for them. You've created stress for yourself. So the whole thing here that I want you to go back to is asking yourself 2 questions. 1, I don't really know everything that's going on here. I just don't. I'm not sure. I'm not sure of all the facts yet. And 2, let me check the facts. Did she say something, right? And this could even go into a number 3, which is be proactive. Go down to property management. Hi, I saw you were at the doorbell. Is there any problem with that? Which is eventually what I did 3 days later. But you can really be drawn in by all of this fear, and you can see how quickly you can become dysregulated in all of it. And so, as you can see, this still happens to me. You know, you are always going to be an emotionally high emotion person. You are always going to have a level of reactivity that you are going to consistently have to tame in and rope in, because you are an emotional person. You're never getting rid of that. With DBT and these videos and all of the other help out there, all it's going to teach you to do is to live a more regulated life. And part of that is learning how to tame your emotions and not letting them run you, right? That's really the respond and not react part of life. And I just did a video about don't respond, don't react. So check that out. That was a few videos ago. I hope that this video has been helpful to you. Please let me know if you've been in situations where recently, you know, you assumed something triggered you, and you went about a course thinking that you were on the right course, and then it turned out it wasn't. Let me know. I'm interested to hear your experiences. My name's Jen. Again, please like, share, subscribe, comment below, and until I see you next time, and everything that you do, please be effective. Bye-bye.